will be on the replay. But
Okay, well,
people,
thank
yeah, it'll take a couple of minutes first. We'll roll it out in a couple of minutes.
you.
But so you're in South Africa, huh?
Yeah, good
Are
old
you in?
Cape Town.
Oh, in Cape Town.
Hmm.
I don't know where Judith Cusell lives. Do you know where she lives?
No, I don't. I've watched some of her stuff on your channel. I don't
Yeah,
know where she's from. Okay,
yeah,
in South Africa.
yeah. She's really good. She's really good. She's
She's amazing.
quite the warrior, the warrioress. You
Yeah,
know.
we've got quite a community here of warriors.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the people that I know there. I mean, I like to go onto Facebook, and if you go
Mhm.
if you go to your information, you can put like I'm in Johannesburg, and you can do a search for friends in the same city, and I look up people like that, like when I travel through the country. But I know quite a few people over there. I just can't put my finger on them right now. Uh, I can see their faces. And speaking of that, yeah, we got about another minute probably. We got 9 people in the house so far. I never get up this early. I want you to know I only get up this early twice. Once for you, once for Judith.
Oh, thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Yeah. Well, because I can't, I get so many messages and emails,
Hmm.
and I kind of, at this stage of the game, with whatever you want to call this transition that we call ascension, or
100% is the game.
you know what I mean? Uh, so I just kind of work in surges, and so I don't always retain everything like like you would think in the memory banks. But I did go to your website, and
Okay.
in fact, let's just go ahead and roll it out. And Genevieve, uh, Guinevere or Genevieve, I don't know how to pronounce it. Bonjour, but I saw your message, and I'll get back with you today, most likely, or tomorrow at the latest. So yeah. All right. Hello from Texas, Jana Kozar. I'm in Texas too today.
Okay.
Let me see here. Make sure that's right. Okay. So I want to formally roll the show out, even though we don't really do things professionally here, but uh, I can always feel when there's a special thing in the air. All the shows are special, but Glynnis Harris Rowe from South Africa, kind of unique. One of the people that's not really in social media. And she, we get people coming on the show all the time, and they're either just on YouTube or not on social media at all. And there's some really great shows came out of it. So I don't remember all the details, but because I was getting you confused with somebody else, their name started with a G. This other lady, they hit me up about the same time. But I went to your website, and I actually have it pulled up. And I was like, okay, this is really, really interesting. Like what you do. I mean, it's really cool. My sister is in Hollywood. It's about 20 something years. And
Oh, wow.
she's a production. What do they call her? Uh, I think it's on your resume too, but basically she's like the operations person. She handles all
Mhm.
the accounting. She coordinates everything. I guess like
Live producer.
I'm not sure, but yeah. But anyway, so you do some really interesting things in entertainment, and then as I was going through it, and I really like your motif, your artistic. I like your website.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, but I thought, wow, I wonder what the connection is here because we had a an actress that lives in New York City that came on a couple of 2 3 years ago. She came on twice, incredible shows. Same thing too. She emailed me. I'm not on Facebook, but I got a story, and the way she blended it into her career, into her career path
Yeah.
was really interesting too. But anyway, Glynnis, welcome to Soul Speaks 5D. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming in and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. It's been a long time coming. I've been watching you for a really long time,
Really?
and I have a very big nudge to send you a message. I think it was about 10 days ago.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was always on the cards that I wanted to connect with you, but there was a specific event that happened in my world that forced it forward. So I'm doing many things. Let's put it that way. I was in the costume department for 21 years. So I spent most of my life traveling internationally and locally, dressing people, going to amazing sets, meeting fantastic people, and working in the film industry. And a couple of years ago, something shifted. Film's a great place for people who are a bit outside the box to live, first of all.
Right.
There are so many light workers in the film industry. As dark as it is, it attracts us. We are very drawn to it. And we just want to be creative and have fun. And then you get sucked into all the nitty gritty and you sort of figure out that your light starts to get dimmed. So that's what happened to me. I started to feel burnt out, frustrated, but I still loved it. So I wanted to find a way to carry on being in the film industry, but not on set as much. I've been an avid reader my whole life, and I love good stories. When you get a good script and you read it, it's like the pages just come to life, and you cannot wait to work on this. You can't wait to meet the team and play. And sometimes playing is fun, and sometimes it's not. I've had the opportunity to work on many wonderful productions. And I decided, well, my love of costume is now transforming into, I want to tell stories. So, okay, now what do I do with this? I'm working 18-hour days, and when am I going to have time to actually pursue this? So it was 9 years ago, I decided to take every 3-month period winter. So the winter period in film, I would take off to write. Start a course. What do you write about? There's so many things to write about. Every single course you will ever take in writing will tell you write what you know. So that's where I started. I started to write about the costume department and realized that it's a lot more than the costume department that needs to be showcased in the world. So what everyone sees, I mean, I don't know what shows you watch, Todd. What shows do you watch?
Nothing. I skim through YouTube. So
Okay.
I do have a certain, things, but I will say this, you know how at the top of the page on YouTube, whatever genres you visit, one of the ones that shows up for me will be scenes. I really I dig a great movie. I haven't seen a great movie made in a long time. I have a hard time watching because it's weird, but yeah, I like to watch like great scenes, like Christopher Walken when he talks about the lion, or just just those moments. Yeah, so I do dig cinema, really do.
So that's part of my story. So I created a script called Seamless, and Seamless is about the costume department. There are moments of it that are based on truth, and some is obviously fantasy. But I started to work on a blueprint. So the blueprint was to give crew some power back, because crew has not told their stories. We walk into productions and we sign NDAs, and nobody knows what goes on in our lives. We drop everything and we run onto a production, and that's it.
So you signed NDAs to make a production? So if somebody leaves, they can't disclose what? I mean, like what, the movie itself, or is it?
Is about what's gone on set, any harassments,
Oh, that's just total bullshit. That's the stuff that's leaving. No,
Yeah,
this is fascinating though. This is fascinating because what you're taking us into or leading us through and what you've been through is really our new operating system. Like going into you and basically, metaphorically telling what the story that right? And adding your own, which is what you're doing now. The crew gets empowered, right? I mean, it's cool. Stemming from the imagination.
taking your own life and weaving other things in. So I would call myself a weaver if you're going to go in energetic terms. That's what my skill set is. I bring in things from different places and I weave them in and code them. So the people who are reading the script will feel it, and hopefully it gets translated all the way through.
Right.
I haven't gone into production with any of my films yet, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, toes crossed, that the one that we really want to start will start soon. So write what you know. And
what was that?
So you have to write what you know. So my film journey,
I just remembered, I know a guy in South Africa.
Okay.
And I don't know why I know this, and I can see him, and I'll figure out who it is. He's been on the show.
Mm-hmm.
He's a writer, but there's something in his thing about the movie business there. His name's Chris. Can't remember his last name right now.
Oh, there's lots of Chris's that I
know. I'll get it. I'll get it. Yeah, I mean, this is how it works. Synchronicities.
100%.
Yeah.
So that was the first baby, and that's how the blueprint started, with the costume department and weaving them in. And the first season will be about costume, and then we'll move into, obviously, costume is not is one department in many, and the relationships with other departments. So it's all about connections, which you know all about all the time. That's what you do. You connect people. It's your special gift.
So, thank you. So what you're saying is, and I have a technical question, and keep going, please. But so what you're saying is, and what I'm feeling is that you're, and again, epitomizing what we're actually doing, embodying it. You're actually expressing the vibrational field as you see it and your role in it through the story of what you know, giving more character to these pieces that are in the background, right?
Yeah.
Not the stars and all that. Technical question real quick. You say on your website, screenwriter, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you mentioned script. Is that one and the same thing?
Yes, it is. It's just different.
Okay. I thought it was. I just want to make sure. Go ahead.
Yeah,
they awesome.
Cross each other's paths. So that was the first one. That one is ready to go when there is the right connection, because I can't work with people that I'm not energetically aligned to. So I've entered it in competitions. I've done my due diligence, but nobody in that world really wants to empower crew. Let's be honest. Not yet. They're a little bit scared.
Why do you think that is? Oh, because of the things that they know.
No, not only that. There's a formula. I mean, why would you not want us to work 18-hour days? And why would you change the format? Why would you let us be happier?
I got you. And I get what you're saying, like, too, and even mentioning the NDAs, because again, it's like a micro of the whole energetic field. So you've got this system, this matrix that's just doing whatever, because nobody says no. And anyone that tries to creatively bring everything into a higher alignment, because you're not just trying to do this for the crew, you're trying to do it for a better universal balance, they suppress it. Is that what, kind of a thing?
Well, an NDA, anything that's written down and signed is generally a contract, and that's a spell. So if you're going to go into the woo-woo stuff, you've just signed a spell. So you've taken on a vow and a contract energetically. Every time you do it, whether you do it consciously or not, that is how it works in that world, and that is what is changing. So to leave that one behind for now, let's go on to the next level. So the next level is COVID, decide, okay, I've had enough, stop. I can't go back to set because I'm not going to get the jab. So I'm not allowed on set. And I started teaching English online.
How did you come across that?
My unbelievable good friend messaged me, and she was like, well, we need to earn some cash and we need to earn it fast, and we can do a TEFL course and we can start teaching people. Like, okay, this sounds fab. Let's do it. Because very high energy. I can't sit down and do nothing. So cool, let's go. Fine. Do the TEFL course, get hired. And I started teaching people in Turkey, adults. Probably the most intense 7 months of my life, but the most beautiful experience. So 7 months of teaching people where the whole world is in lockdown. And I will tell you, I'm not a grammar teacher. So I met incredible scientists and researchers and all the people that I wouldn't normally be in conversation with, and held space for them. And I'm still friends with most of them. Moved on to, after a while, it became a little bit heavy dealing with adults for 12 hours a day.
I almost spit my coffee all over this screen. I just love the way that you don't, the inflection in your voice, like, or the lack of inflection, actually, because it's kind of like hits you like
So I started teaching children, and I don't have children. I've never wanted children other than fur children. I love kids, but it's never been in my path. And I met a child who helped me heal my inner child online. A little girl. Yeah.
Wow. How old was she?
She was 8. Her name was Emily.
Emily? From Turkey?
No, she was from China.
From China. A Chinese girl named Emily, 8 years old. You connect with her and you heal your inner child. So did you know it was coming? I mean, we're oh, wow.
I had no idea. I knew that the moment I met her that she was different, and we just connected on a different level. It was like watching me as an 8-year-old, but being able to talk to me as an adult.
Now, this is through the teaching English, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you first met her, could she speak English at all?
Yes, okay. She could. Basic English.
Yeah. Okay. I was just trying to figure out if because of the language barrier, if, you could feel her energy, like, the nonverbal.
It's not really a language barrier with energy.
Right.
That's one of the things that people have to start understanding, that language is the barrier we're putting up.
Beautiful.
We need to actually break that down and just sit and be in each other's presence to understand each other a lot more. And we don't do it enough because we haven't been allowed to, but that's over, guys. It's time to get out there and start connecting and start co-creating, because that's what this world is going to need. They need people to start being brave and start living again. Start finding your tribes and start telling each other stories and start having fun. So during this journey, another script popped into my head. I mean, there's crazy stuff that happens online, especially in South Africa with load shedding. And you're not allowed to be offline. So you're never allowed to miss a class. So you cannot believe the drama that goes on behind the scenes trying to keep everything alive electrically. So for anyone out there that doesn't know what load shedding is, it's a power out. We have them currently for 10 hours a day.
Oh, wait, okay, whoa, okay, now I remember. Okay, which is why we had to do it at this time. Okay, I got you. So in South Africa, the lights go out for 10 hours a day?
Currently, yes.
Holy shiitake mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So another script popped into my head and I couldn't quite get it out there. And I connected with a wonderful woman who lives in Detroit on a meditation. And we started speaking. We became friends. And she was looking for a writer and I was looking for the perfect person to understand where I wanted to go, with writing, to not just have things told and put out there that weren't going to help anyone, because it's pointless. It's pointless to sit and devour a whole season of something in a day and walk away. That's a whole year of a cruise life. There's no respect in it. It's just,
wow.
It's terribly sad.
Wow. Almost like binge watching is a premeditated programming,
100%.
like energetic. And I was talking about this last couple of days. I want you to continue, but the whole thing about creativity being stifled. I was even doing some research, and they were talking about how those that held the secrets, so to speak, and set everything up, stole our creativity from our earlier civilizations, or our masterpieces, broke them down, computer, whatever you do with that, and reproduced it as a Da Vinci or this or that, and it's part of the whole bullshit of the history that's been presented to us. But the moral to the story was they're at the core. It seems like they're taking our unbridled emotions or whatever, but what it really gets down to, it's taking our life source energy, which is our creativity.
Yeah, that's what's happened. So everyone needs to wake up and start being creative. That's my first message to the people who are watching. And my cat's just arrived to say hello. So excuse.
The animals always come around in Soul Speaks 5D. I have all the respect in the world for the cats.
She's a special one.
Yeah. They're not cats.
No. They know what's going on everywhere.
So you said that you wanted to connect with somebody, work with somebody that would understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yes, Al. Sorry.
You're good. Just pull up the lid.
Do you want to come say hello?
Of course.
Hello to Todd. Okay, don't knock anything over. Hi.
Hello. Oh yeah, is that a he?
No, it's a she. Tortoise shells are always she's. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a powerful one.
Oh yeah, they all are. Yeah. They're not cats. That's all I can say.
So I met a wonderful co-creator and learned about what the next stage was going to be for me and hopefully for many other people. So I'm going to try and explain this as easily as possible, what a level 3 production is. So a level 1 production would be your normal everyday entertainment TV. The stuff that you're watching on Netflix mainly, the normal formula. A level 2 production would be your edutainment and documentaries, more human value, more exchanges of energy between plants and animals and in history and information. And a level 3 production is going to be taking real people's stories, so the same skill set that I was talking about earlier, so my story, and using fictional characters, incorporating technology and different fields that we need to start healing the planet with. So within the production, people will relate hopefully to the characters and their journeys, and their journeys involve bringing things in to help heal the planet, which are already around. So things that help with energy and water and plants and a whole bunch of things. Then after watching the production, you'll be able to connect with these companies and all of these different spheres and hopefully bring them to wherever they're needed in the world, because that's how co-creation works. You connect with it and you can carry on from there. It's just the beginning watching it, really. We're just laying the foundation for more and more co-creation.
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
Any questions?
Well, I'm seeing it. I don't know. I mean, that's just how my mind works. I can hear it, and then I don't know, kind of just repeat it or something. But so I like it because the feel of it, it feels very contemporary, like present day, right? And I love books. I used to read all the time for like 30, 40 years. And I don't know what you call it, I don't know all the terms, but I know there's a term for it where it's about the character. Like, so if you're writing a script, evidently, each character is like almost like a story in itself, right? You know what I mean? But like the way that the energy that you carry and your intention, it feels like within the story that the characters, because of the time they live in and because of what they're doing and their intentions and their heart and everything, that their transformational, you know, the anecdotes and just the energy of their transformation will be a part of it. So you got like all these.
Yeah. I'm watching a live fable take place.
Yeah.
So there's meaning to it.
And then
so that's that.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No,
I was just going to say, and then because it's all to me like energetic templates. So the template, it's like you built your own flower of life. Boom, you build the cell, and then you just start to copy, paste. But it's in, you know, different. They look different on the surface, but the overall energy of it is this energy complex of what you said: collaboration, co-creation, co-op, cooperation. You know, very cool. And do you now? Okay, so let's. And if the story continues, we want to hear it. But just to kind of get some feedback, because you started the show and you said there are a lot of light workers, which would make sense to me in the arts, you know, in movie and theater and all that. They sign these NDAs, so there's a certain culture. You are breaking away another physical representation, metaphor of what we're all doing, what we're doing together, what we're doing individually. Are there others? And do you feel like that you're going to be able to connect within the industry because there are people like you that might be in those positions?
Yes, there are producers that I already have that are ready to go for this.
Cool.
Who understand what we're doing and are really excited because it's going to be complex. It's marketing. So you're taking a commercial can cost millions to make. And now you're talking about taking a commercial and a movie and putting it together with platforms attached to it. So it's multidimensional. It's a lot of people who have to work together and play together to make this work.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I know my sister's stressed out. I'm kidding. I don't see that. Yeah, I wanted to know too. Let's take a commercial break. Jana said, if we have time, can we go back to the story how the little girl Emily healed her inner child? Yeah, that just sounded so powerful. I mean, can you just like give us a 2-minute rundown? Like you walked into it not even knowing you were going to be connecting and merging with this soul sister, basically, right? That's what it feels like. What was that like for you?
Oh, she was incredible. So on the platform that I was working on, it was a Chinese platform. So I was working on a Turkish platform and a Chinese platform at the same time because kids and adults in different countries, to balance your schedule and earn enough money, you have to work through different time zones. And Emily in the platform on China was meant to have a partner. So it was a 2-person class and couldn't find a partner. So for the first 2 months, we landed up doing one-on-one. So I learned a lot about her and her family. And her dad lives in Spain and her mom lives in China. So she travels between both. I'm not in contact with her anymore, unfortunately, which I hope one day she'll find me, but she knows that already. And Emily eventually found her partner. So after 2 months of teaching her 3 times a week, a little guy arrived called Roy. And Roy was the cutest little pixie you have ever seen in your life. He wore glasses as thick as bottle caps. He had hearing aids and more energy. It's like a little sprite on screen. You can't contain the excitement of just being around people. I mean, he'd bring out his little guitar because he didn't want to learn, and then he'd play songs for us.
That's an elemental if you ever seen one.
Yeah, no, he was totally not of this world. And I didn't understand Roy as well as Emily did. So she started leading the classes because Roy, every time you played a song, so a lot of these lessons have songs in them, he'd cover his ears. And I didn't understand that his hearing aids couldn't handle the sound vibrations from YouTube and from these platforms that you connect with to play the music. So we eventually just stopped playing songs, and Emily explained it to me. He also couldn't see properly, so she would underline as he was talking and started teaching him. So they became best friends. I was just there holding space for them. And then, unfortunately, Roy got sick for a couple of lessons. He did come back, so don't worry, guys. He's okay. But Emily, one moment was in Spain, and then the next she was in China, and the dynamic changed. And I learned about her childhood as it was happening was what I went through in my childhood. A divorced family, going from parent to parent, being shifted to different places, and living in different homes with different people. So I had to look at my own childhood and help her through what was going on in her life. So that's the story of Emily. And then Landy shut down, and I was determined to say goodbye to her. And I got a message to her, and she sent me a message back, and she will continue to learn English, and she will find me one day.
How cool is that? That's a movie. There's so many movies. My friend from God, that's bad, Ireland or somewhere over there. We're gonna do a show tomorrow, and she said, I'm getting this intel let's talk about the hero's journey. I thought, yeah, that's cool. But I mean, I started thinking about every one of. I mean, they're everywhere. Yeah.
We've all got the stories in us.
Yeah.
Every single one of us.
So what's that? Do you see me pond?
What do you?
Who do I want?
Yeah. You were.
Oh, because I was pondering a question is what I do. No, I was just thinking about the we know there's polarity and we know there's duality. Certain things, even as we're learning to not label things and all that stuff is happening with us, there are certain things that are really loud and that have been big tools. And one of those would be, I would say, the hijacking of the creativity that we call the arts, right? And so you have this, big persona, let's just say Hollywood or entertainment as a whole. And we know it's a big bad wolf. And then to talk to somebody who's actually on the inside, who's actually at ground zero, you know what I mean? Ground zero, 2020, 21, 22, and even up to now. And who's, I guess, physically transforming from that very field. Right? Like, I mean.
Well, I left in 2020. My health was shattered. It was shattered before I left. And I went to my favorite place, Namibia, which always teaches me so many lessons every time I'm there. And I learned that I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do that creative part under that kind of duress, representing products I don't believe in.
Yeah.
And it changed my life, because I was forced off set due to high blood pressure. We were in the middle of Namaqualand, and the desert is not a kind place. So the driving into set was 2 hours and driving out. And if I dropped on that set, the medic couldn't handle me and every other incident.
Wow.
So I was forced to stay in a bungalow with the aircon and ponder what my next move was going to be. Like, do I really want to do this? Like, am I happy? I'm sitting away from my team, worrying about them terribly, knowing that I should be there, but I can't be there. And it stopped. Like, nope, I can't do this. I'm not helping myself. I'm not helping anyone else doing this. And I want to. I want to move it forward, because it's an incredible thing being in film. And when it works, there's nothing like that synchronicity. And it is a dream. I've been on projects where it's honestly, it's like, it's play. And it's beautiful.
Well, I've probably seen, I don't know, a handful of plays in my life. I've seen a ballet, symphony, but there is something really cool. A couple of my kids were in the arts. There's something really cool. Like, when they get to when they do a play and you get absorbed in the play, and, and then everybody, and the play's over and everybody comes out, and the villain always gets like a huge, ovation. Right. But I mean, you can see that synchronicity and that co-create. You know what I mean? You can see like they're family or something. It's like the vibe it builds, which is again, it's a very interesting kind of thing to ponder because of the industry that it's in. Now, I'm sure there's other, like maybe you go on a weekly TV series set in Hollywood and it's just a grind and everybody hates each other or whatever. But these, I've seen that, and I'm just a layman. So I get what you're saying.
But the show you're working on, if you are energetically empathetic, like if you are sensitive to energy, takes on a whole new meaning. So if you're working on something that's got a lot of fight scenes and a lot of killing, it's extremely draining. If you're working on a romance, half the crew will be having affairs. It leaks into your life.
Is that right? Wow. Think about what you just said, and I know you have. Now you're speaking about the set. See, I have I'll tell you right now, I've got Netflix pulled up. I haven't watched something continuously for more than 10 minutes. In fact, when I go through YouTube, it's never more than 3 or 4 minutes on a video. Every now and then, something will catch my eye. Netflix, I try and I tried, and I can't get just a few minutes. Now I pulled it up because I was talking to Morgan last night, and Dr. Gabor Mate is going to. Yeah, he's going to interview Harry. And I'm looking at, she sent me the thing. I'm like, what the fuck? Like that. It just didn't, I'm like,
Mateus.
Huh? Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing. Yeah. But the thing was, he's going to interview Prince Harry. And it's like it's a paid virtual event, like $33. And I thought, wow, that's it. And so she started telling me that she watched this series about Harry and Meghan. And how
my wife
kind of the same thing though, that in the bubble, or there's a bubble inside of this matrix, pillar, and they're actually carrying, many of the different frequencies that you might say, you know what I mean? And so I'm going to try to watch it. But my point is that you just made a comment. So if you think about it, it's possible, and you got to be open to everything. We know most of the stuff that's put out there in our face is program is has an intention of programming, but I believe we forget. And so to think that something that can take your attention like romance, a great movie, or it doesn't even have to be whatever, just the energy of it, and you engage with it or merge with it, and on the set people start having affairs. What happens in the real world? Wouldn't the same thing happen? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So there's been something inside of me for the last probably like maybe a year. Because when Morgan left and I was in Arkansas for that year, I laid on the couch and I watched stuff because I was probably, you know, whatever processing. But once I got past that, I can't watch anything. And Netflix really gives me the creeps.
Oh, it's built on.
It gives me the fucking creeps. And do you know that the guy that started it is the you know who? The grandson of the Nazi dude that started all the PR shit. So, wow, that's some deep stuff to consider.
So Seamless, the first season about the costume department, the story within the story is Aphrodite. So I've done the Greek gods. So there's lots of affairs and lots of juicy stuff that will happen.
but it's you know what I mean? It's not it's just like cooking or anything else. You know, do you ever see that movie like Water for Chocolate? You know?
No.
Okay, so it's a Mexican family, a bunch of girls, and in the Mexican culture, back in the day, and I've had relatives like this, the youngest child will stay with the widowed parent until and won't marry or anything like that. So this young lady, she is that, and so she's very like, you know, energetically powerful, like, you know, like sensitive and all that. So everything she does. So when she cooks, whatever she's feeling, people, just same thing like with the crew, right? So if she's angry, everybody gets angry. And there's a great scene in there because she's fallen in love with this guy and they can't run away together. And they had this romantic moment. She's got to go back in the kitchen and cook. And everybody, you know, of course, gets an aphrodisiac when they eat her spaghetti or whatever she made. But I forgot why I started talking about that. But I guess, you know, what I was saying is, you know, you're creating this and co-creating and collaborating. There's a, you know, intention. There's a unified intention, and the intention of what's been created carries that energy.
Of course, and that's what people need to start realizing. Everything carries energy, so it has to be conscious creation.
Yeah.
So you know what you're doing, you know what you're putting out there, and if you can't openly speak about it, then there's something wrong because you're hiding the truth.
That's right. That's exactly right. I mean, look, I spend an hour or two every day, like I said, going through YouTube, and really it's to pick up information. It's to see what's out there, to feel the energy field. I've been doing it for years. And, but you're right. The whole template of it, like you can see the duality, like the clickbait, you know, Soul Speaks 5D, so-and-so's the guest. I mean, that's it. And any time I've ever tried to like take myself into that template, take Soulogy into it, it never works. It doesn't fit. You know, people say, put meta text up. Tell us what the things are about. You know, I'm like, you know, I mean, I'm just following my guidance, which is saying, don't do it the old way.
Yeah, you are more than just the show. This is just the beginning for you.
How do you know that? I saw some things 10 or 12 years ago, and it's not really, you know, I know what you mean, but it's not about me. But yeah, that time has come. I will tell you that. That time has come. Not, and again, as the individual goes, the couple, the group, or whatever, the platform, the production company, so goes the collective, and that's what you're and so many people are doing. But you're actually talking about it real time. You are that bubble within the infrastructure of the old matrix that's coming out, you know, like a lotus.
Incredible people. I mean, I have an incredible team of people who keep me grounded.
Yeah.
I can be very hard work energetically, because I refuse to dull myself down with antidepressants anymore or medication.
Yeah.
I would rather let myself run manic and be exhausted afterwards than pop a pill and just say like, okay, well, that's it. That's a day.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn big lessons about myself and my own energy and how to contain myself. So I started cold water swimming in Cape Town. The water is on average 10 degrees.
Are you insane? My friend, did you see that show, Keith? He's up in Virginia or something, and he rented a cabin on the lake. It's like picturesque, like right out of that movie Friday the 13th. You know, where they have the cabin on the lake. But I guess it's the off season, tourist off season, so he got a great deal. And he goes out with a video and a broom, breaks open the ice and goes into it. And because he was called to do it. He'd never done it before. I'm thinking, man, you're crazy. You want to do a show?
It is incredible.
Yeah, I bet it is. I
25
mean,
minutes in water, the dopamine high you get from it and the health benefits are beautiful.
Yeah.
And you get the codes from the water.
Yeah.
Water is powerful.
Yeah, water is so powerful. And it's true. I don't know if I want to be Wim Hof, you know, but
no.
I've always had this thing where, you know, I would turn the water on, blast the cold, you know, especially when I was growing up. And I never knew why I was doing it. But then as this has come back online, I've been playing with it a little bit. And I was doing some research on it. And yeah, they say even taking a cold shower, even like letting the cold water run on you for just 3 minutes, whatever, the blast will last hours, you know, just hours. But I think there's a lot of stuff that's paralleling that's happening, like your description of how you are right now, like your state of the union, where you said, you know, this is how I am now. I'm just going to be direct. I'm going to be straight. I'm going to be open with you. I'm not an easy one to handle. I don't think anyone here is. We can kind of, we're following the same pattern, you know, and I think part of it is starting to show up in our physical lives. Like, I mean, I'm going into my 4th week tomorrow. I fasted Monday, Tuesday, into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday night the first week. I didn't do it the second week, a little bit. And then this past week, 4 days. And I'm hoping to do, I'm just going to try to keep doing it. I'm not going to set any goals. But my point is, why am I doing this?
Does it make you feel good?
Yeah, I've cut almost all sugar out. I do use honey. I've ceased taking in any type of, you know, libations or libations, whatever they call it. Which and you know, my energy level is just crazy. It's crazy what's happening. So I think it's all kind of flowing together.
Yeah, it's, you know, everything's happening in the timing it's meant to.
Yeah.
Originally, when I wanted to come onto your show, I thought my partners were going to be with me on the show. I'd always imagined that my team would be sitting next to me, and that's not what's happening right now, because it's not the right timing. I needed to arrive first.
Right. Someone's got to do that. You're the Marine. I got to go in it. That's what we're all doing, though, isn't it? But, you know, there's something different. I don't know. And God, you have such a, you know, your life experience because of the industry you're in, because of your your perspective and the way that you think. We can relate. But so we haven't walked in that world, right?
You start watching the productions and start getting involved in them, because everyone can get involved. It's just a starting point.
Yeah.
Think of it as like cleanup crew. So no matter wherever we're going energetically, whether there's going to be a big blast or I don't know what I believe anymore, to be honest with you, but I'm just working in the moment and doing what I can.
That's right now. And the minute we start talking about solar flares and this and space and all that, we're out of the present. Look, I think this creativity thing is huge. And I've been trying to verbalize something for a long time. And Morgan, I think she didn't always understand because, Morgan's a shadow eater. That's her thing. She's the 0 point shadow eater. And so obviously, like everybody, I've done, and I still do what I got to do. But I kept feeling something as we hit last summer, and it was this creative thing. Like, okay, because I would tell her, man, I'm not looking at the shadows anymore. I'm gonna go out and make something happen. And I wasn't saying no more shadow work, but I guess I was kind of like, how you get a download and you get a little too far over with the pendulum to the one side. But but
down the rabbit hole.
So she was right. She was right, actually. But anyway, the point is, once you get back into clarity, so I'm going through a creative. I realized, like, last year was such a wild year. But when I got to Sedona last year and I sat down with my friends who were musicians and did a studio thing for the first time ever, right? I got so scared, right? I mean, I was freaking out. And I went to the place next door and got a shot of whiskey and a beer. And I went and sat down and we did an hour, and it was one of the most amazing things for me because there was a part of me that came out. And I didn't care what anyone, I didn't.
It's not about everyone else.
Right? It was like two of the songs, the two that I did, I might have did more, but that's all I needed. It was like 3 minutes of like, whoa, dude, wow. Like you can do this. And then it's just gone on from there. So the importance of creativity is the point. And that's what's happening in my life. I think it's happening in a lot of people's lives. It's happening at Soulogy. I mean,
unlocking your inner child and playing again.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the questions that I used to ask a lot of my adult students, and it can be quite triggering, is what is your first childhood memory?
That is trippy. You know why that's trippy? I got, how we connect all the time, right? We go to sleep and all that. This morning, and there's always like a standout. It was this childhood memory of like deep, like I went and found like the story you told. Like, this was so weird. I've done a lot of, with every age, I've gone through so many different templates like that Morgan has put together, like age 1, age 2, age 3. This is, through the years. But last night it was crazy. It was it was 14 15 years old. And I just went to this moment. And the fact that you said that about your story with that young girl, and again, the synchronicities taking on a physicality. I'm finding this every day, the way things are sequentially laying out, rolling out and unfolding. And then these synchronicities that are beyond the numbers. These little clues like we're sharing them or something. I don't know.
We are sharing them. I've stopped looking for things on the internet. I'm a big book lover. Yeah. I will go and binge read. That's one of my sources of calming down. And I love stories and I love books. Nothing makes me happier than a secondhand bookstore.
Yeah. I used to do it. I mean, it was religious for me. I mean, I was in them the same, because I lived in a town of about 200,000 people, but there might have been 5 used bookstores. I was in them every other day. I love the way they smell.
And they're portals to places. You connect with different things in them.
Yeah, you're right about that. I'm thinking, because I read, like, I was my brother was a reader. I was a reader from a young age, like 4, 5, 6 years old. I mean, I was writing poetry. So I always read until I woke up. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I don't know, but now, because I have tried to read a couple of times and I couldn't, and I think you're making me understand It's because that whole thing about you got to do something, got to check this, who was that, and all that. You know what I mean? And I think that would probably be a good.
Bookstore and let the book find you. Find each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Jana said, mentioned novels. Yeah. I say I only read nonfiction, but I did read, like over the years, I probably read a couple thousand books, and I read a handful of sagas, and like Larry McMurtry, Lonesome Dove, that big book, Anne Rice, the Witch's Hour, that trilogy.
I did Ken Follett, The Pillars of the Earth, for some unknown reason. I did that one recently.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa,
yeah.
churches. What were we thinking?
Yeah, I like books. I might need to try that. I don't, Well, but what's weird is when this all broke loose, like in 2012, the internet kind of exploded too. Like YouTube and everything started to explode. These communities started to explode, and our ability to take in information increased. You know what I mean? That was a huge energetic reversal, because as adults we would just learn less and less as time went on. But that changed. I think that was a big catalyst. Do you think that I know you feel that it's going to happen, right? Like for you at a micro level, and therefore as a reflection of the whole. Do you have any feel for like when? do you no?
I've stopped trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
I noticed that I jump at different stages to other people. We all have different transition points.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when the whole collective does this together, or if we ever do.
True. It could just be a ascension, like God's ascension program that runs in a cycle. It probably does. The whole 26,000 year thing. So the beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning.
Incredible playground, Earth. I mean, everyone just wants to come play here. They've destroyed other planets before to have one that can sustain life. And while we're here, be in the game and have some fun.
Yes, and create.
Mm-hmm.
Create. And I think this is a year for, and a lot of people are pointing to that, like beginning next month, that we're going to start to see these new creations, like what you're doing, and like what we hope to do with Soulogy, which will be becoming out very soon. Which
amazing.
Yeah, I'm real happy about that, and really the platform will just be expansion of the pre-existing one. It's just going to be more toys, like we to have a Soulogy universe sim. What do they call it? Like Sims?
Mm-hmm.
We have that over here. Animation, giving, so like you have a place where people can upload like photographs and videos, go live and all that. But what if you had a little engineering station there where we provided like some of the stuff you see, like the music, if you want to do a reel, but have animation, make your character, make it talk, and think about this, like for people that don't want to be on. A lot of people don't want to be on and have their face on the screen.
Well, I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I was just told that I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, who told you that? Your higher self? You?
Higher self and team. There's a lot.
Do you? I bet there is. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Do you like some people refer to team, and they don't really have, it just means their team, which is kind of, I do that a lot. But are there specific
one or two stand out? I know everyone speaks about when they woke up. I'm quite sure that I wasn't really ever asleep. I just decided to numb it out and have some entities hijack me for a while.
Yeah, that sounds like my ride.
Yeah. And then it all started flooding back, and I've studied a lot of healing modalities, but I've never wanted to practice them on anyone. It's all been for self-healing and for my journey.
Yeah.
I
Well,
have a yeah.
I was just gonna say your work is your healing. I mean, your work that you are a practitioner and your work is just looks different. That's all. You're
And
still
teaching it is for me the energetic exchange, healing wise, that I'm helping the collective with, because children who are growing up with parents who don't get it and who are little light workers and star seeds need someone that they can have a laugh with for half an hour a day and not be bullied into doing homework. And so I spend a lot of my day still doing that. I know that that will end when this project launches, but while I have the time, it feels important to hold space with them.
Right.
And they are so incredible.
So you're still doing that? Okay. Yeah. Now, are you only doing children now, or are you doing adults too?
Only children.
Wow. Wow. Let me sit with that. So what's happened is, just organically, you've come into this domain of interacting with children from a soul level and an energetic level first, right? In the world they know that they're closest to. And this just follows the whole thing that's been going on, which is every day the presence in the energetic field of these young people that are coming in, let's just say post 2010 even, the world's starting to be impacted by their purity.
But a lot of their parents don't understand them. So they need someone to talk to.
Yeah. Thank God for the Mary Rodwells of the world and all the other ones. I can't remember their names, but there are a lot of them out there that are Ashley Lee, my friend Ashley Lee, Casey, I'm bad with names. But yeah, there's people that are filling that role.
We need more people to start helping the kids, or helping the parents understand their children.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people are quite hard on their very special kids who just want to be outside and play. They don't want to sit in front of a computer.
They're the normal. Let them stay normal, not become abnormal like we all had to do. Yeah, that's true. But I had 6 kids, and I had 2 marriages. One, there was 3, then there was another 3 with the second marriage. So there was a lot of time, 23 to 49, 1 year in between. Mm-hmm. But anyway, kids. So, as a parent, you always reflect, I don't regret things, but I mean, you just look, that's what we do as souls. We analyze, we grow from what we've experienced. And, I just started spending some time here. I came back to Houston, and my 2 youngest are here. They're both female, 20 and 21. When I came off the streets after I woke up, I got them back, and we lived together for a while. And they were like 13, 12, 13, 11, 12, and then 12, 13. Yeah. Because they went for like 14 months apart. And so I started learning. That's when the middle of, we're talking 2013, 2014, all this energy, and I'm living with them. Their mother had passed away, and it was just an amazing experience. And now to be back with them a few years later, I realized kind of what happened, and it was, and I can't say that I did this consciously, but something in the relationship when they were 13, 14, I don't know. I think I did have a conversation with them. I told them, you're adults. You want to go do what you want, when you want, how you want, with whoever you want. Then I respect that from this point forward. You're young women. You're women now. And so they did. And they both are independent, But my point is, I noticed that in being back with them these last few weeks and seeing them now and then. I noticed it. I noticed that they've got something I didn't have, because you know what I mean? I mean, they're doing their own thing. like literally. Like, that doesn't feel right. I'm not doing it. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm learning from them, I guess is what I'm really getting to. So I can't imagine sitting down with young children every day in the environment that you're doing it. And God, you must have to like lay down.
Exhausting. When my friends, my partners in America that I work with, she's in Detroit. So by the time she wakes up and she's ready to get going and chatting, I'm ready to go to bed. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
I can speak to that for the last 18 months.
But things will change, and this is just the role I'm playing for now. I'm pretty sure it's all going to come together very soon.
So what as far as you can tell, and with what you know, because I mean anything could change. There could be a new way of everything happening. Somebody could walk in tomorrow and give you $1 billion. You know, a fair. You know what I mean? But like, what do you see? What needs to happen? What will happen? Right? Because we know it will, because it's going to go. Like, what happens next?
I think there's going to be a divide of 3D and upper levels. I think some people are choosing to stay in fear, and some people are choosing to move out of it completely. And there are two very different energetic frequencies. But we need to keep in mind that we've got families and people that are in the same houses that are on different frequencies. Yeah. So there has to be a way of communicating with each other. So I'm not quite sure. In my household, we're all pretty awake. I have a wonderful wife who holds space for me in a huge way. I couldn't do this without her. So I have her, and I have the ocean, and I have the plants and the cats and all the wonders of living my life.
Wow, that's cool.
But for people who are in homes where one person is awake and other people aren't, I'm not quite sure how it's going to work.
I don't know, but I mean, okay, take it back to the set, back to a production. Like with your story, you can't stay in that environment, but was that one production? Is there another production over here? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And like, it would make sense as a microcosm that on a production, you would have two camps. So what happens? I don't know. You know, I really don't know. Now, a few months ago, Morgan, when we connect, right? She channeled this one night, or it was a lucid dream. She told me about the next day, and it was following the intel of a couple of 2 or 3 other people at that time, and it went like this. Her vision or lucid dream, we were all walking, like you could just say arm in arm, and just in a long line. We're all walking, and there's a line in the sand, and on the other side of the line was 5D, right? When we crossed over, everybody that was back there was with us. They were there too. And it was like the chicken and the egg thing. And so that always like stayed with me. And it comes up from time to time when I'm talking to somebody. And so that's a good question. What is the new method of communication that we have? But it's another thing. Yeah, but it's another thing. But it's another thing to consider. How do I communicate with that group, right? If there's 2 Earths in a split, right? So now I go back to the dream and why I brought it up. I think what I got from it, and I just mentioned this to her last night. I said, I brought it back up. It's the perspective. In fact, I think I might have had a lucid dream or something. Something brought it back up, and now you're bringing it back up. But maybe it's not about us changing our perspective. I don't think because that would be inauthentic. I mean, changing your perspective because you learned something, that's different. But I'm talking about getting away from your natural nature, acting in a way that's really not you, right? which we do when we've done, and we're breaking away from, we're being ourselves. But but standing in the other shoes, maybe altering our perspective by like what you said earlier, having the empathy to really make the greatest attempt we can to step in their shoes. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, productions like the one we're creating are going to help bridge those gaps because people will want to level
Right.
up.
Right. That's
It's
right.
cool to help people move forward and not stay in that place and expand. Because who doesn't want better technology and a better earth? And the stuff that's out there that's been created by scientists and beautiful people is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like,
And the greatest stuff is coming out daily, right? Like I can't believe. I mean, our stories are similar. I guess everybody's are. I don't really know, but like this whole thing with the passion and the purpose, right? And the download. I mean, Soulogy is not a Todd thing. Todd's got a role in it, but I've received information over the years about it, and it's all coming to fruition. And it's always been a story, or the downloads have always been a story of, and I've understood it, the collective pattern. But one of the things that came in a few years ago was I called it 5D commerce, and it's based on gifting. There's no taxes. There's no taxes.
Okay.
There's no tax man. It's all based on gifting. And I was told that the virality of it, right, the explosion of it would be so great that the matrix infrastructure couldn't do nothing about it. It was too big of an energy, right? Now that sounds pretty crazy, but now I can see it.
Like burning
but now I
every
can
day.
see it. I can see it about to happen in the physical, like with your passion, your purpose. So the short of it is that we have a community here of people. We don't even know the numbers. We've never taken an email, but we're about to do something different. And I wrote our collaborator the other day, who's got all the IT part of it, and he's going to do a demo for us next week, and then it's green light, right? But think about this, and think about that. But the reason I'm saying this is because this is the new template. That's what we're doing. We're doing what you're doing, and so in this example that I'm going to tell you, the feasibility of it, the probability of it, the reality of it is code. So other people will somehow, consciously or not, get a lift out of it. A coding will open up, and then they'll see something with a little more clarity. So here we go. So we have hard numbers. We know this: 120,000 people across the platforms. We don't really know what that number is because so many people come in from the outside. They don't join the group, or they don't like the page, or whatever. Right? Big deal. But imagine this. And this is what I told them the other day. Hey, we're ready to go. I've come up with this, $12 a month for every person, no matter what. And then we'll go with the plan, which I'm about to tell you, which is wild. Okay. And I said, I will be the first one because I'm paying too, right? Great. See you next week, whatever. But so imagine this. Imagine you get, now the way it works is you get the way they showed it to me is 369. A third goes cost, a third goes to the house, and a third goes to the content creators. So 50% of your gross margin, gross profit, goes to the content creators based on a percentage of the engagement that they get. What more can you ask for? Real time, right? So 1,000 is 12,000 a month. 10,000. 120, 100,000.
Yeah,
now think about this for a second. Think about the, but again, this is just one example of what in the field. That's all I'm trying to say. So 100,000 becomes what? 10,000 is 120. That's $1.5 million a year. 100,000 would be 10 times that. So now you're talking 15 million. Now You take, let's say it's at 100,000 in the community. You got $5 million a month. And this is all, by the way, transparent. This right?
It has
This
to be.
spreadsheet will be on for everyone to see, write down, other than protecting people's privacy or whatever, but you know what I mean? It's all gifting, right? So imagine $5 million a month. Imagine 500,000. If you only had 10,000 people, 500,000 over a 12-month period in dollars by today's whatever would go to the content creators to build their dream for doing what they want, what they love doing.
You're empowering a whole community of people.
So, but I guess the reason I'm, and this is none of this is planned. I don't have an agenda. I don't really care. I just want to be on the beach surfing, with my wife, but I guess the reason this has all come up and the reason that things didn't work out and you came on today and we checked to this time and everything's a little bit different is because of the importance of it. So for me, the takeaway is we're close and these creations are real and they are fantastical. They are. Our dreams are no longer a fantasy, and that's pretty wild. So yeah, I'm a big cheerleader for you. And see, someone like you, and I know like three other people that are in the same type of thing that you do. They do some type of production. A couple of them do like stuff they put on Amazon and like little things they do. They're not, they're independent, but a perfect platform for someone like that, because the whole thing is, first of all, the base will be built by like-minded people, which is a reflection of what's happening, a mobilization, like a cell within the cell, right? And so what'll happen is anything in that universe, because they're all little universes within that universe, and it's all connected and it's all paying forward, could go viral, could go by itself, could go viral by itself. Like you could put your production together, it gets latched onto it, and the great thing about this is you don't have bigger's not always better. You don't have to have 10 million people to have an impact on this new grid.
No, you don't. But you have to have the right energy throughout.
Yes.
And people have energetic signatures. So that's something that I've learned over the last 2 years, is to pick up on energetic signatures, because I was not very aware of who I was talking to all the time and what I was putting out there. So between the words and the contracts and the energetic signatures, I've learned a lot about what needs to happen going forward.
Yeah.
A lot of history about all of these things, and we just choose to ignore it. If you look
yeah, you're right. Go ahead. Yeah.
There's been whole civilizations that have been torn apart over technologies, over things that could have been avoided if everyone was on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's obvious that what was presented to us in that, includes what was kept from us. So, yeah, this whole taking back our consciousness, taking back our power. I mean, however you want to put it. I mean, this is the greatest show in the multiverses. That's how I feel about it. Really
yeah, everyone's watching out there.
Yeah, I know.
There's a huge books. I don't believe you can find everything you need on the internet. So I still am old school and will go to the bookstore and let the book find me and sit down and find what I need in it, because it's always guided. And then I just sit and laugh. It's like puzzle pieces just all come crashing in. And it's beautiful. And I have found other people across the world who do the same thing. And I would love to know, like, what secondhand bookstores have that other things don't. They definitely are a speciality on their own. They're like gatekeepers of the world.
That's right. And I was going to say, see, I've tried to go into new bookstores. I can't do it anymore. It's just as plastic as everything else. But I had 3 different libraries through what I described to you earlier, and I think one was about 700 books, and one was like 300 or 400 books, and then the other one was probably a couple hundred books, on a given day or whatever. But I had like 10 or 15 books that were the core. And I had them from the beginning, like they were early books. Like you said, they will find you, right? And I had some really interesting experiences in used bookstores because they're full of energy. And when people tell you that a book falls off the shelf, it happens. It happens. But one good thing about the internet is when I lost the third batch, I wanted to retrieve the old ones that I had, the original ones, and I was able to go to used book stores on the internet and get some pretty rare books.
Incredible.
Yeah. And so that was very cool. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I love the internet. This is before I even got on Facebook
I
or
love
anything.
the internet. Don't get me wrong. I just think that we've become a bit too reliant.
Yeah, well, and the other thing too is that even in the let's call it the disclosure, conspiracy, lightworker, starseed, truther platforms, you can't tell me that Project Mockingbird, CIA, you can't tell me that the infiltration isn't at least 50%. Like I guess what I'm saying is you have to do a lot more discernment, on the internet. And there's a reason that they're coming out with these reels and these shorter things. It's still there's an intention behind it. It's an intention about kind of like too much information, numb you, So, yeah, the books. And again, we're moving back full circle, so I can see that. I can see us getting back into storytelling. I think
that's what it is.
Yeah, storytelling is
all of it is. If you look at all the cultures, all the world, what did people do? They told stories. They sat around fires and they told stories to their children to keep history alive. And the elders told the kids stories, and the children would do plays and they would engage. And those stories were passed on through generations and generations. Some of them were written down, some of them weren't. And with non-communication and people not actually, every time I go into the bookstore, I meet someone interesting.
Yeah.
Every time I go out, so you can see the interesting people, and it's about passing on knowledge, because we are all old souls and we're all here for a reason. So we all signed up for this.
That's right.
And when we figure it out and we start understanding on a soul level why we're here and the stories of our ancestors and going back to these different lands. I mean, you on your journeys have stayed in some very beautiful spiritual places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the tribes, there's not enough knowledge that's being passed through to people in a storytelling format.
Well, that is it. Before the Tower of Babel, I mean, there was, what does the Bible say? The first, and God created the word or something. I mean, but going back to what you're saying, I mean, in other words, the voice, right?
Yeah.
But going back to what you're saying, if you just kind of take a bird's eye view of the whole kit and caboodle, with the only qualifier being it has to have originated from oral tradition. Mm-hmm. You're going to find that the story in this sacred text is the same one in this one. This one just came before. Horus was Jesus. Okay, you know what I mean? I mean, it's the same. It's not. There may have been people attached to these stories, incarnated but the story itself is an oral story, right?
Yeah, and every
so,
scribe will put their take on it.
yeah, of course. But if you look at the oral traditions of the indigenous and the Aboriginal, they're all the same. You know what I mean? So then you reflect on the sacred text, and you can see where it's become, bastardized, modified, whatever. But yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you look at the Dogon tribe, or you look at the Aborigines or the Navajos, they're talking about in different names, but they're talking about us coming down from the stars, and educating them, and whatever. But so I mean, this is our story.
It is our story.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
No.
I only have one complaint with the team right now, and that I'm getting burned like every day as this energy is coming in more and more and more. I'm getting burned, and I'm getting like this thing on my head where like just getting, I don't know what the hell this is, and my hair's falling out. I'm like, what the hell is that all about? Oh, okay, whatever. At least I have my beard. But
yeah, it's a wild ride.
Yeah, it is. Hey, I want to show everybody. Before we get out of here. Right here, I'm going to show. Is it okay if I show them your website?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so here is the homepage, screenwriter, entrepreneur. Y'all see that? But here's the screenwriting projects. This one, native speakers only.
So that is the project that I'm co-creating with the tribe in Detroit. And we're starting in Detroit for the reason that the Industrial Revolution started in Detroit with Ford. So we're hitting ground zero energetically and trying to heal from there.
What tribe is that? Do you know?
It's not really a tribe that I'm talking about. I'm talking about my tribe of people that
I get you. I'm working
with. But
hey, here's the trailer for.
Well, it's just a clip that I made. Yeah, you can.
That's cool.
Might be copyright.
Is the sound? Was the sound coming in? Do you do all your own editing? Oop, where we at?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, all right, man. This is awesome. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know why I did that. Hang on a second. I'm changing my sleep pattern, so I'm a little bit dopey.
And you're fasting, so everything's going to be a bit trippy.
Yeah, true. Well, no, I actually broke it last night. I think I ate one meal yesterday, one meal. Yeah, it was yesterday, and it was good. It was Mediterranean across the street. It was really good, authentic. Let's see, boom. Yeah, I want to go back to the. How do I get out of this? I want to go back to here. Yeah. So, costume biography series, commercials, music videos. So this is a pretty cool page here. Yeah, to me, you look familiar too. I'm like, where do I know her from? But I guess we all know each other from before when you just get right down to it.
Eyes.
What's that?
It's all in people's eyes, and you can tell if you've met them before.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Hey, it was a real pleasure meeting you. I hope we get to collaborate again. Maybe we do a show like this maybe later on in the year, but like even other things. So as we start to roll things out, I've told myself I've been working on this since 2018. We're going to be doing this next month, but it's happening. But as more, what we need is community, and we have it. You know, we're just going to be put up a flag and say we're all the same, whatever. But content creators, you know, imagine going and putting your stuff out on a platform, you know, in this space that we all share, and you get 2% of the engagement for the month, and there's 500,000 for the month. No, that'd be the year. So there's 50,000 for the month that is being given to the content creators. 1/3 of everything. That'd be what, $1,000.
Just go in with absolutely no fear, Todd.
Oh well, you know, that's why I don't have any. That's what. Yeah, no, I'm not lacking in that department. The only thing is, I did get I got a download like about 10 days ago, and I did get fearful. It was the first time in a long time. So they took me back to the streets 10 years ago, in these streets in Houston, Texas, which is no coincidence. And they said, "Remember what you were acting like then? Remember how you felt?" And it was really all of us, right? It was really the way we all felt. Like it was what you described when you said no more, right?
There were many no mores. That was just one. That was the one where I just threw it all in. I still went back to set. I still had to work, but I just took on different jobs. It was just a very toxic commercial and a brand that I really did not want to work for.
Well, I think you're a beautiful soul. We'd love to meet your partners sometime. Maybe y'all can come on together.
That.
You know? Huh? No?
I knew you were going to ask that. She's not really into the whole camera thing.
I know. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them aren't. But
how we met, which is a beautiful story.
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, we weren't very close, you could put it that way. I dated someone in the same circle, and she had a dream that we were holding hands in a meteor shower, and then she decided that we could be friends, and that's how it began.
Well, that sounds pretty explosive. I don't get shower lacking for any fire over there. Yeah, it's a pleasure meeting you. It really is. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And please go and buy a book. Go find a book. Let it find you.
I actually have my daughter, the youngest one. I'm renting her apartment because she's living with her boyfriend. And she's an avid reader. So she's got a bunch of nice books here. And she's got great taste. She's 21 and she wants to be an art curator. So she works here in the eclectic part of Houston, the old suburb, you know, Montrose. She runs a art gallery, kind of a cool place. The lady, it's a bona fide art gallery with what do you call it? Like a clothesline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's kind of a nice blend. Yeah, pretty cool place. But anyway, she's got books here. I will read. I don't have the money to go buy a book. Peace out. See you again. Keep a lookout for what we're doing, because you might want to plug in. Yeah, and it'll everyone, even the people just put up pictures of their grandkids. I mean, if they get 1% of the engagement for the month, they get 1% of the content creator pool.
I will be engaging.
All right. You take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Todd.
Appreciate it.
Bye.